Welcome to another session of Computing at Home. This week we're looking at functions again, but adding in what we call parameters. So the big question is, what is a parameter? Well, if you remember, a function is the name we give to a group of commands. In session 2, we looked at the function brush your teeth. We saw how many commands it takes to complete this function. Perhaps you've been brushing your teeth twice a day and saying all the commands while you do it, but I bet you haven't. However, we also listed a lot of other functions, including get dressed, set table, tidy bedroom, put on shoes, make bed. But what if the task isn't exactly the same? Think about this one, get dressed. Now, most of the time, the instructions are the same for getting dressed, but sometimes they are different. For example, would you wear the same clothes to the beach as you would wear to the North Pole? Would you wear the same clothes on a rainy day compared to a sunny day? Well, you know the brackets you've been putting after the functions? These are known as parentheses. So far, they've all been empty because you haven't really needed to put anything in them for your functions. Your functions did not need any extra information. But when coders use parameters, they add them inside the parentheses, the brackets. And this gives the computer more information. Let's give you a simple example. What do you say when you meet someone? Well, the first thing most people say is, hello. In code, you could write this as say hello. The word say is the function. The word hello is the parameter. It's what you say. Say yes if you understand. Now, do you see how I use the parameter to change the result of the function? So let's turn our attention to one of my favorite subjects, food. We'll take a look at pizza in a minute. But first of all, here is my foolproof recipe for American-style pancakes. First, mix all the dry ingredients until they are blended together. Then, mix the wet ingredients in a separate bowl. Add the wet ingredients to the dry ones and mix it gently, folding them together. Try not to overmix it. My secret is to let the batter rest for a minute or two. This allows the baking powder to activate and make your pancakes fluffy. Heat the oil or butter in a frying pan, and once hot, add a few tablespoons of the batter, making sure they don't spread to the outside. Cook for a minute until fluffy. Flip and cook for another minute. Now, we can turn this recipe into code. Think of the recipe as a list of commands. A function in a recipe is something like stir the batter. The parameter just tells you how long to stir it. So I could say stir batter until mixed, or stir batter for 1 minute. In the first line of our recipe, it says, first, mix all the dry ingredients until they are blended together. In code, this would be mix ingredients, that's the function, blend together, that's the parameter. Pause the video and see if you can code the rest of the recipe. You can upload your coded pancakes to Google Classroom, Seesaw, or your learning platform. So let's talk about pizza. Making a pizza is just like constructing a code. Here you can see that the first thing I do is roll the dough to a thickness of about 5 millimeters. If I wrote that as code, it would say roll dough, that's the function, thickness 5 millimeters, that's the parameter. Roll dough is the function, the thickness is the parameter. Now, do you like your pizza thin and crispy or deep pan? What would your parameter be for the thickness? Here's the rest of my recipe. Add sauce, flavour, marinara. Add toppings, ingredients, onions, peppers, mushrooms, ham. Add cheese, flavour, cheddar. Bake, degrees C, 220, minutes, 20. Now, what would your pizza code look like? For your second task, you're going to code your own pizza, using the example above as a guide. What cheese would you use? What toppings would you have on your pizza? How thick do you like your pizza? Now, if you could make your pizza, that would be amazing. But if not, code your pizza and send in a drawing or a photograph or just your code to Google Classroom, Seesaw, or your learning platform. Pause the video and have a go. Now, your final challenge today involves one of my favourite games to play when I'm bored, in a queue or stuck on a train. It's called Rock, Paper, Scissors. Do you know that game? Well, I'm officially hiring you as programmers to improve the game Rock, Paper, Scissors. Remember, in the original version of the game, rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, and paper beats rock. In Swift Playground, you can play the original game of rock, paper, scissors, but you can also change the parameters of the game and use emojis. Your final challenge today is to do that. It's to change the parameters of the game rock, paper, scissors. In the game, the objects are the parameters. So choose something you like doing and choose 3 objects that could replace rock, paper, and scissors. And then create a poster explaining the new game. Here is mine. I've gone for cheese, tomato, bread. In my game, the cheese melts the bread wraps around the tomato, and the tomato splats the cheese. And this is my simple poster explaining the rules. So, at the end of the video, try inventing your own game and upload a poster or video of you playing your version of the game at home. You could even try adding in a 4th or 5th parameter. How would that change the game and the rules? Thank you for joining in this session of Computing at Home. The next session will be about logical operators, where we play a crazy game of Simon Says. See you then.